1990 was an amazing year for movies. We had blockbuster hits like Home Alone, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, and Total Recall. But there's one movie that came out that exact same year that most people probably have never seen or heard of, and it's called Troll 2. Troll 2 is a movie that has been just universally destroyed by critics and fans alike for the past like 30 years. From the bad acting to the just plain goofy special effects, everything in this movie is just laughable. But I think that's what makes the movies just so entertaining. And I'm also pretty sure this is the lowest score that I've ever seen on Rotten Tomatoes, with a whopping 5%? I honestly didn't even know you could get a score that low. So the movie is about a family who takes a trip to a town called Nilbog. Also, in case you didn't know, Nilbog is goblin backwards. And they think they're just gonna take a normal vacation just at this little small town, but the entire town turns out to be inhabited by goblins who want to turn all of them into plants so then they can eat them. Yeah, that's the plot of the movie. Trust me, it'll make sense. But you're also probably thinking, this is Troll 2. I haven't seen the first one. I'm not gonna know anything that's going on. I'm not gonna know any of the characters. Why should I start with this one? So that's because Troll 2 actually isn't a sequel at all. So the movie was originally supposed to be called Goblin. You know, makes a lot more sense. But the filmmakers wanted to try to capitalize on the success of the first Troll movie, even though the first Troll movie wasn't even a big movie in the first place. Even though Troll 2 has nothing to do with the original movie, it's kind of got like this weird cult following, but the movie is just so bad, it's actually kind of good. It also became so popular that they ended up making a documentary about the movie called The Best Worst Movie Ever. And I'm pretty sure the movie follows like the original cast and crew reacting to the movie. They're watching like behind the scenes and a bunch of different things that happened while they were filming it. Honestly, kind of sounds cool, and I love documentaries, so I might check it out after this. But enough beating around the bush. I'll start the movie. So the movie begins in a forest like thousands of years in the past for some reason, but then we find out that this whole sequence was like a bedtime story being told to a little kid. So makes a little bit more sense. And it's this dude being chased by goblins through the forest, and there's like this weird like 80s action movie music playing in the background for some reason. Let me ask you a question. How old do you think Josh is? Like 8? Maybe 10 years old? This story that's being told to him is about this dude that's just getting brutally murdered by goblins, and this is the thing that your grandfather is gonna tell you before bed? Does that make any sense? You know, under normal conditions, I would be mad at somebody terrorizing a kid like this, but it's Grandpa Seth telling the story, and Grandpa Seth is kind of sick. See, Grandpa Seth is kind of this weird ethereal being that you'll see throughout the entire movie. Oh yeah. I also forgot to mention that Grandpa Seth is a ghost.
Grandpa Seth was telling me to stop.
And just Joshua can see him for some reason. But then in like other cases, he's not hallucinating and other people can see him. But then in other situations, they can. Also, sometimes he can interact with like real world objects and other times he doesn't. It's weird. But what I do know is the family's getting ready to take their huge vacation that they've been just dreaming about. Are they going somewhere tropical? Maybe somewhere with amazing weather? Maybe it's just their dream spot and they've always dreamt of going to this one spot. No, they're heading to some random small town that nobody's ever heard of. It's basically not even on the map, and it's just so itty bitty. Okay, dude. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And in the midst of all this chaos of them packing, getting ready for their trip, Holly's boyfriend and his like gang of goons just show up and just start terrorizing Joshua for no reason. Holly tries getting him to come on the trip with her family for some reason, but for him to come, he has to leave all of his little buddies at home. No friends here, this is a romance trip. And if he's not back at the house at 8 a.m., then I don't know what to tell you, buddy, but your girlfriend, she's out of here. She's gone. Fast forward to the morning, and Holly is just absolutely pissed of course, because Elliot didn't show up, but he actually is coming, but didn't tell her for some reason. Well, probably the reason that he didn't tell her is he got an RV with all of his buddies, the one thing that she wanted him not to do, and then they're just gonna go on their own trip to the town as well for some reason. Like, they're making it this weird boys trip when Holly invited him and she wants to date him. I don't know. his group of friends just seem kind of weird. You can just say you'll hang out with them later, and this weekend you're going to hang out with this girl.
It's too easy. It's too simple.
Also, the entire time that Holly was fighting with the parents, Joshua was just like sitting there chilling, and then somehow they drag him into the argument too, and then they make Josh sing this like horrifying version of Row Your Boat for some reason.
Row, row, row your boat gently down a stream.
Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Row, row, row your boat.
We finally made it to the town of Nilbog.
There's no one here.
It's normal. This is a farming community. Remember, at this time, not everybody goes to sleep.
At night? Yeah, Michael, you might want to get your eyes checked or something, because it's broad daylight out. So I have no idea if they like planned on shooting at night, or like he said the wrong thing and that's what was in the cut, but it doesn't really seem like that. But the people of Troll 2, I'm going to do you a little favor. I'm going to edit that scene to be nighttime for you. Here you go. Also, whose decision was it to have so many shots that are so zoomed into all of the actors' faces? Actually, I think this is kind of sick. I'm going to start doing this from now on. So when they finally arrive at their new home for their little vacation, also the movie doesn't even mention it, but they're not actually like vacationing at some house. They like organize this weird house swap. So this family that was living in Nilbog is supposed to live in their house, and then they're taking over their house, which you'll see doesn't end up happening because of goblin things for the movie. And then the family that's supposed to be leaving ends up making this like huge dinner, but it's just so disgusting, gross, and it's all like this weird neon green color. Like, who would eat any of this stuff? Even if you're absolutely hungry, like, it looks disgusting. How would you know the food is made by goblins if it wasn't green? Duh. But before they can start digging into all that amazing food, Joshua, and only Joshua, hears a knocking at the window. And it was none other than my boy Grandpa Seth, who tells Joshua if they eat any of the stuff that the goblins made for them, they'll turn into vegetables. And that's like a whole other thing in this movie. All of the goblins are vegetarians, but they don't eat things a normal vegetarian would eat. They only eat people that have been turned into vegetables. So with his family about to eat all that food, he's got to think quick to come up with a way to get rid of all of that food. But how will he do it? Well, first, Grandpa Seth just kind of decides to freeze time just to give Joshua a little bit more time to decide. But back to Josh. How is he going to destroy all that food? Well, that brings me to my new favorite segment. Destroy that food. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we have a doozy on our hands. Young Joshua here has to destroy all of his family's dinner. But how will he do it? Will he, A, throw the food in the trash, B, warn the family that the food is deadly, C, burn all the food, or D, pee on the food? Is that right? Is pee on the food really one of the answers? And from the aftermath of this scene, we probably get one of my favorite scenes out of this entire movie.
Do you know what it means? Hospitality. And you can't piss on hospitality. I won't allow it!
We then hop over to Elliot and his boys just hanging out in their RV, and they're trying to figure out how to get to Holly. One of his buddies sees a girl walking around outside, and then it like breaks out into a chase scene, and for some reason this scene also has that cheesy 80s action music. And then it turns out this girl was actually being chased by like a whole group of goblins, and for some reason she thought Arnold, the dude that was chasing her, was also a goblin. For some reason. And then the goblins finally catch up with them. Oh my god, forgot how ugly all the goblins were. Especially that one. And then instead of running or just trying to fight the goblins, Arnold goes over there and like scolds them for chasing the girl. He does it like he's their mom or something. And then to nobody's surprise, Arnold ends up getting kidnapped and then brought back to the Goblin HQ. And here we finally get to meet the villain of the movie. Credence Leonore Credence? Why did they decide to give the villain of the movie such a complicated name? I'm just gonna call her the witch. And why did they make her make all these faces to look creepy or something? It looks like the face that you make when somebody's trying to take your picture and then you're facing the sun and you just can't see anything. Like, yep, Do I look good? Am I looking... And then she just kind of decides to spill the beans about like why she's here, what she's doing, and then what the heck is up with all the goblins. And I guess the witch is somehow using a piece of like Stonehenge to like tap into this weird magic and control the goblins. I have no idea. I have no idea. She also brings out these 2 mugs of like some boiling potion. And for some reason, when I saw that, it made me think of like a plate of like sizzling fajitas when you go to a restaurant. And the girl that Arnold is with is kind of dumb and just ends up drinking the potion right away. And it turns her into this like weird pile of like veggie goo. But it did create probably one of the greatest memes of all time. At least that's probably what me in middle school would have said.
They're eating her! And then they're going to eat me! Oh my God!
And then when we head back to the family, they're all just kind of hanging out, getting ready for bed, and we get another appearance of Grandpa Seth.
Joshua.
Grandpa Seth, what were you doing in the mirror of your granddaughter's bedroom?
Joshua.
I know you say because you don't know the layout of the house, but you've literally had no problem trying to communicate with Josh up until this point. So why all of a sudden is he like, oh, sorry, I don't know how to talk to Josh. I don't know how to get to him.
You were in the wrong room. Holly was sleeping there.
I still have to learn the layout of this house.
And you also froze time like a couple minutes ago. Also, how can Holly see him now? Before this point, it seemed like Josh was the only one that could see Grandpa Seth. And when he shows up, he wants the entire family to leave because I guess the area that they're staying is the
Kingdom of the Goblins.
And the next couple scenes are kind of boring. And the only thing that really happens is one of Elliot's friends gets poisoned by a police officer with a sandwich that's made with like Nickelodeon green slime. And then there's a jump back to the home base and randomly Arnold got turned into a tree? How does everyone in this movie get turned into a pile of vegetables? And then for some reason, Arnold gets a tree? And heading back to town, we finally get to see Joshua and his dad going to the general store to try to get some groceries, but it turns out there's a weird sermon going on. And Joshua, rightfully so, gets kind of nervous or like weirded out by the whole situation. So he tries summoning Grandpa Seth, and he makes a kind of weird discovery.
Grandpa Seth, are you there? Neilbog, it's goblin spelled backwards.
And I know I already said it at the beginning of the video, but I want to know why it took this long for one of the main characters to figure out that Nilbog is goblin backwards. So Joshua starts sleuthing around, just trying to figure out where everybody's at. Everybody in the entire town is just missing. It's not just at the general store, just nobody's walking around the entire town. And he eventually discovers this weird garage where everybody in the town is having some like weird cult meeting, and no pun intended, because their entire thing that they're talking about is just how much they hate meat. And I want to know how tiny everybody's like spatial awareness is, because Josh is like a foot away from one of the goblins' head, and they have no idea that he's just chilling there. The goblins have the tunnel vision of like the guards from Metal Gear Solid. And then of course, Joshua knocks over his skateboard, he makes a bunch of noise, and then the goblins capture him. And then they try to feed him this like ice cream, but there is no way that that's ice cream. It looks like some weird cafeteria mashed potato slop. I don't know if anybody's gonna get this, but it looks like the pile of goo that's in the beginning of Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide. Then Joshua's dad just all of a sudden shows up. I also forgot to mention that he just randomly falls asleep while they were waiting outside of the general store. And isn't it supposed to be like super early in the morning? Why is the dad taking a nap in the morning? I swear, time after time, the dad has proven he never has any idea what time it is. And while this is all going on, Holly stomps over to Elliot's RV to talk about their relationship. And I think it's kind of crazy that neither one of them have any idea of what's going on. Like, they don't know that one of their friends got turned into a tree, and then the other one is like on his way to die. And then Elliot and his dad show up and kind of tell them what's going on and tell them they need to get back to their mom so they can, you know, get out of there and figure out what to do. But before we're gonna see what they're getting up to, I want to show you what happened to Elliot's friend, and most importantly, probably the most powerful slap that I've ever seen.
Hurry! Oh no.
And then when the whole family finally gets back to the house, they find out the entire town is throwing them a party in their honor, and the mom is just going along with all of this stuff like it's normal.
Oh, Michael! Look what a surprise they have prepared for us!
And then Joshua, in the chaos of the party, understandably panicked, tries summoning his grandpa Seth through one of the mirrors in the house. But then for some reason, a goblin jumps out and tries to kill him. Joshua, backed against the wall. Nobody there to help him. What is he gonna do to try to escape? Literally nothing, because Grandpa Seth just pops out of nowhere with an axe and chops off the hand of the goblin. And then that goblin ended up being the witch for some reason. And now I guess Grandpa Seth is alive now and he can like interact with physical objects. But did you think that Grandpa Seth's reign of chaos was over that easy? No, he just pulls out a Molotov cocktail, hands it to Josh, and tells him to light the entire house on fire. And then like not even a minute later, I think it's like the mayor, he takes the Molotov cocktail and he banishes Grandpa Seth to hell? And then Grandpa Seth proceeds to launch a lightning bolt at him for like no reason. And then like a bunch of other stuff happens. All the goblins for some reason surround the house and force the family and everybody to just hide in there. Instead of just attacking everybody, I don't know why they didn't just do that. Like they have the numbers advantage on them. And then while all this is happening, the evil witch goes to the RV that all the boys were staying at, which I'm so confused. The one friend that was in there earlier didn't come with all of them when they were already at the RV and they knew that there was like goblins or, you know, something bad happening in the town. And then we get probably one of the most bizarre scenes out of this movie. The evil witch like seduces the guy that's in there with an ear of corn, puts it between their mouths, and when they start kissing each other, it starts making popcorn. Yeah, I don't even know at this point. And then back at the house, the whole family is trying to do a seance to try to summon back Grandpa Seth. But for some reason, when they summon Grandpa Seth back, it teleports Joshua to the like goblin HQ. And then right after Joshua gets there, a random goblin pops up, tries killing him, and then Grandpa Seth just comes back. I thought you were just banished to hell, Grandpa Seth. What are you doing here? He basically tells Joshua if he touches the like magic rock Stonehenge thing, and through the power of friendship, he will be able to destroy it and then kill all of the goblins? And then Grandpa Seth disappears for good, but not before he gives him his backpack, which has a little secret inside of it. Also, the exact moment that Joshua and Grandpa Seth touch the rock, it like alerts all the goblins in the area and they immediately teleport back to their home base. Like, can everybody in this movie just teleport now for some reason? But now Joshua's really cornered. His family's back at the house. Grandpa Seth got like fully banished to hell. What is he gonna do to defeat all of the goblins? Well, with none other than a double-decker bologna sandwich.
A double-decker bologna sandwich!
No, Joshua, is that a bologna sandwich? Why does he have a bologna sandwich?
But yeah, for some reason, just all the goblins cower in fear because it just has chemicals inside of it. And then in that exact same time, the family shows up, they all touch the rock, and boop, they defeated all the goblins, and you know, the day's saved, woo, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And that's the end of the movie. They all live happily ever after. They get home, everything's normal, they're kind of relaxing, unpacking their stuff, like, we're so happy that vacation's over. Well, not exactly. For some reason, Joshua's mom is taken by some other group of goblins, turned into vegetables, and just eaten in front of them, and that's the way that the movie ends? And yeah, that's pretty much it. But you know what? I'm never gonna watch this movie ever again. Part of me actually kind of want to watch the documentary, because I watched this whole thing on like Amazon Prime, and I saw that they have the documentary on there for free. So like, why not? Maybe I will check it out. And I want to say thank you for everybody that watched the video. I appreciate you sticking through all the way to the end. And leave a comment saying just how much you absolutely hated this goblin. Oh, but if you'll excuse me, I have some vacation plans that I need to get to.